Abbiamo visto,
In English, please.
we had said that the woman is the nefesh. The nefesh is the part of the nekeva of the neshama. When I say the neshama, so that to make it clear, we're talking about we're talking about what is known as the neshama, complete neshama. Now, there is a neshama that forms part of a bigger picture, which is we said there's the nefesh, ruach, neshama, haya yehida. Now there, the neshama, when we refer to it in that way, that specific way, so the neshama is not the klal of the neshama. So just in case you get confused, when I say neshama, I mean the whole neshama. And when I'm talking specifically about the 5 parts of the neshama, so the neshama there is one of the 5. And we had said yesterday that not only is it one of the 5, since there's 5, so the 2 first ones, the nefesh and the ruach, we said the nefesh is the nekeva of the neshama, of the whole neshama. And that is the bridge between the neshama and the guf. It's what gives hayut to the guf, physical hayut to the guf, but it's something spiritual. It comes from the neshama. The ruach, we said, is the part that deals with the emotions. It's also a part of the neshama, but it's more elevated than the nefesh. And then there's the neshama, and then there's the haya and the yehida. So the haya and the yehida are the or makif of the neshama. Means there's the or penimi and the or makif. The or penimi is something that you can feel. And that is the nefesh and the ruach, emotions, and you have life, you have vitality. The neshama is in the center. It's another bridge. It's another bridge, just like the nefesh is the bridge to the body. From the neshama, you jump to the body. So the neshama is the bridge between the or makif of the haya yehida and the ruach and the nefesh. Is that understood?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go on. So I'm going to take it from V'chen klal nefesh ruach unshama shela, and we said that in the woman, the 3 aspects of the nefesh ruach neshama is the nefesh of the man. Are you clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
כי כלל המדרגה התחתונה היא בחינת נפש, בחינת נקבה, נגד מדרגה שלמעלה ממנה. So now I'm going to read you something here so that you understand. This is obviously something that we've learned before when we explain the Kabbalah side. The introduction to the Likutey Moharan, we learned a chapter in Kabbalah. So I'm going to go over what we need to understand this. כלל הוא בקבלה, שבכל נקודה במבנה העולמית הרוחניים, it's a general rule that in everything that composes the מבנה of the עולמות הרוحניים, means the spiritual worlds, המדרגה התחתונה היא כלי או לבוש ביחס למדרגה שמעליה. So when you have, say, חוכמה, the next step, I'm taking an example. This applies to everything, to high and low. You have chokhmah, and then you have binah. So the binah is a kli to the chokhmah. That's always like that. Whenever you have something that is a bit lower, the thing that comes under it is a kli It's something that you use in the service of the thing that comes above it. It serves it. מכאן נוכל להסיק שהנשמה היא מדרגה תחתונה, היא כלי קיבול עבור הנפש של המדרגה שמעליה. So in the neshama itself, you have the 5 components. That's a klal in Kabbalah that talks about, in particular, the sfirot. But in the neshama itself, you have the same thing. You have 5 aspects of the neshama, and each one that comes underneath the one on top comes to serve the one on top. Now, why that is so, that is explained somewhere else. You have to go to the Likutey Moharan in Torah Lamed Gimel, but we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into the why that is so, because this is not directly relevant to what we are learning. But suffice it to say that this is the way it goes. Now, I'm going to go now ahead in the text.
Which one, the Likutey Moharan or Zohar?
Yeah, no. We're going to go into the text now. So it says like this. Since the man is above the woman, so the woman is the kli to the man. She comes to fulfill something that the man passes on to the woman. Since the man is above, so the woman is the kli to the man. So the man is the zachar, obviously, and the isha is the nekeva. So the nefesh, ruach, neshama of the woman is equivalent to the lowest bechina in the man, which is the nefesh. So the highest in the woman, which is the neshama, is the lowest in the man, the nefesh. That's how it is. That's what we had said yesterday. So I'm going to go on now. Al-Ken, text. Al-Ken, al-yedei bechinat ha-nekeva bat zugo, שהיא בחינת הנפש אצלו, על ידה בעלו הממון. And that is the reason why precisely, since the whole of the woman is like his nefesh, if you take his nefesh, the lowest, and you analyze it, you're going to see the whole of the woman, the whole of the spiritual component of the woman, and the nefesh, we said, is the thing that is responsible for the parnasah. So the woman is the key to the parnasah in a man. So I'm going to explain it in context now so that you know what direction we're going to be taking as we go further. This is not in the text. I'm going to read the explanation on this and I'm going to translate it afterwards. As we said that the nefesh and the mammon is one and the same thing. It comes from the same place. So, which is the nekeva of the neshama of his wife. מוכחים דבריו של רבנו לעיל, שעיקר האמור של אדם בא לו על ידי בת זוגו. And that is why it says that the ikar of the parnasah that you have is going to come to you through your wife, because she's your nefesh. Her whole being is your nefesh. Now, as we go on now, this is what I'm going to give you an introduction to what comes later so you don't get disoriented. במהלך התורה, רבנו מתייחס שוב ושוב לאשתו של אדם במונח בת זוגו. You're going to see that Rabbi Nachman is not going to say your wife, he's going to say בת זוגו. ולא במונח הנפוץ יותר אישה. And not normally we say isha. We don't say bat zugo, but Rabbeinu is not going to use the word isha. He's going to use the word bat zugo. אל נכון מטרת המונח הזה היא להצביע על הקשר הנשמתי העמוק שבין בני הזוג. The reason for that is because he wants to explain that there is a קשר רוחני between the couple. And that is that ממונו של אדם בא בזכות בת זוגו, כאשר נישואיו מתנהלים על פי ההלכה. If a person gets married according to the halakha means with the 7 brachot. You can't be nehene from anything in this world without making a bracha. So you can't take any hana from your wife or cohabit in any way unless you make the 7 brachot and you get married, kadat vekadin, and you keep all the halachot of taharat mishpacha and so on and so forth. So if that is done, then a person can be zocheh to have a parnasah through his wife. That is called a relationship. And through that relationship will come your parnasah. Now, that is why we had said yesterday, marriage in Hebrew is called kiddushin. Kiddushin means that she is dedicated for you, or she is separated from the rest of the world, asur to the rest of the world, mutar to you. But in a deeper sense, it means that you live a life of kedusha with your wife. She protects you from all kinds of temptations and so on and so forth, and she helps you to see yourself in a more realistic way so that you can serve Hashem, see your faults, work on them, so that you can serve Hashem properly. So that will bring you to your parnasah. Now, we had said that the Zohar compares the Sfirah of the Malchut to the Nefesh, which is the feminine aspect. Just like Malchut is the feminine aspect of all the Sfirot, so too is the Nefesh in the Neshama. Now, we also said that the Mammon and the Malchut is equivalent to Emunah. So one has to enter this relationship with the Emunah that whatever mazal you got by marrying your wife is from Hashem Yitbarach. And as a result of which, that Emunah will help you to come to terms with the parnasah that you're going to get, since the parnasah has to do with who you marry. So now, if a person has that, so then he can be zocheh to what is called in the Torah ashirut, wealth, dikdusha, that comes from kedusha, and not something that is never going to. You can have parnasah, but you will not be happy. So if a person approaches marriage and parnasah in the correct way, through emunah, so then he'll be zocheh to have ashirut dikdusha, true wealth. Now, let's go on a bit. Ke'aikara mamon, I'm in the text now. Ke'aikara mamon, because the most important part of the wealth, talui bah ki makom acher. In other words, you can go to work and you can have an element of success, but that is not going to be the main part of your parnasah. The main part of your parnasah has to come through your wife. So he says here, as he explained in another place. Now, I'm going to tell you, you don't know that because we haven't really learned that. But I'm going to tell you where he explains that. He explains that in Torah, Chav Gimel, if you look at the paragraph Gimel, it's there that he explains that. Now, he says like this, HaParnasah behinat isha. A parnasah has a behina of isha. Why? Because just like an isha, a woman, is here to help you to serve Hashem, so the parnasah is the same. The parnasah is a kli for you, so you can serve Hashem better. Habiul lekach she'adam le'enu shalem le'lo isha, kemo shekatuv, it says, a man doesn't have any shlemut unless he's married. He says, E'aseh lo ezer kenegdo. I will make him a help. Kenegdo, and we know what kenegdo means. the Maharsha says, it's written in the Tanakh, in the Torah, many places, that the wife of a man is meshula litmichatul parnasa shelo. It's compared to the woman, is compared to his parnasa and to a support. In other words, the man's support is his wife and his parnasa as well. One of the reasons for that is שאפילו מעשה ידיו משלם בליעזר שכנגדו. כפי שחז"ל מלמדים שאדם מביא חיטה לביתו. What do you see? A man can bring to his house, say, wheat or barley or whatever, אבל אשתו היא שמכינה ממנו לחם, and the woman turns that into bread. אדם מביא פשטן לביתו, this is, Chazal say this, a man can bring linen to his house, and a woman will convert it into clothing. Now, this is the Gemara in Yevamot, in Daf Samech Gimel, Amud Aleph. What do you learn from here? That just like a man's life is talui on his parnasa is talui on his wife. So what you see from here is that the key to the success of a man is his wife. Without his wife, he cannot have parnasa, and in turn, he can't survive in this world. Now, Rabbi Nachman, he opens up the subject in the Likutey Moharan, and he explains like this, what we're discussing now. השכל הוא המקור לחיותה של הנפש. To explain what I'm talking, what Rabbi Nachman says, that the woman, the העיקר de parnasa is תלוי on the woman, this is what Rabbi Nachman has to say about that. השכל הוא המקור לחיותו של הנפש. What is the חיות? What is the life source of the nefesh? That is the sechel that a person has. הקבלה מלמדת שכל העולם ומדרגה יש בהם 10 ספירות משלהם. And in Kabbalah we see that every world, as we learned, has 10 ספירות. הספירה העליונה יותר, המוחין, and the highest obviously is the מוחין, the brains. Just like we have brains, in ספירות, we know we are created in the image of Hashem. So in the Sfirot, there is the Mohin also, in a spiritual sense, obviously. של כל מדרגה, שורשם במדרגה שמעליה, למשל, for example, המוחין של עולם העשייה, if you take the world of action, which is the lowest one, עשייה, העולם הנמוך ביותר, which is the lowest of all worlds, שורשם במלכות שהעולם שמעליו. We've learned this before. If you go to the malchut of the olam that comes above the olam העשייה, which is the olam היצירה, the lowest madrega there, which is the malchut of the olam hayetzira, is what brings the mohin to the olam ha'asiya. In other words, it's the root. Out of that grows the mohin of the olam ha'asiya. So in effect, in the olam hayetzira, you have the malchut, which is the lowest of the 10, it's the 10th. That represents the nekeva, the wife, or the part that doesn't have any light. It gets light from all the other 10 sfirot. So that's like the nekeva. That's like emunah. The emunah of the olam yetzirah is the shoresh, the root of the mohin of the olam that comes below it, and so on and so forth. Now, כיוון שהמלכות, הספירה התחתונה יותר מן העולם מדרגה מקבילה לרגליים, והרגליים מקבילות לממון, מכאן שהממון הוא השורש למוחין של המדרגה הנמוכה יותר. כמו השכל, כך גם הממון הוא מקורה של חיות הנשמה. So it says here that I'll finish it off actually and then I'll explain it better. רבי נתן מוסיף שהממון אינו אלא שפע מן העליונים שיורד לעולם הזה. שפע זה ששורשו במציאות הרוחנית הגבוהה ביותר, משתלשל ומצטמצם כדי שהאדם המקבל אותו יוכל ליהנות ממנו, על פי הקבלה, ירידת השפע מבילה לחסדים, לצד הזכרי, ואילו הצמצומים שמאפשרים קבלת השפע הראוי, הם הצד הנגבי, הגבורות, לכאן עיקר הממון תלוי בה. So it goes like this. The money is something that comes into this world from an energy that is masculine, that is zachar. But it cannot materialize itself unless it comes through the nefesh, unless it comes from the left side of the sfirot, from the binah, from the hod, from the binah, from the gvura, from the hod, from the malchut. And the woman is in charge of all that. So a man is giving his wife all the time. You learn Torah, you have obviously a higher connection to Hashem Yitbarach than she does because you were created by Hashem. You are Yetzir Kapav Shel Hashem. Hashem created you with his own hands. So it's much easier for a man to understand, to learn Torah and to understand the Torah. Now, when there's a point of contact between the husband and wife through Kiddushin, through a Torah, through a marriage, which means Shiva Berachot, and a kosher marriage, so there is a point of contact between a man and a woman, between the neshama and the nefesh, between the zachar, the chesed, and the nekeva, the gvurot. When there is that point of contact, then money can materialize. So in actual fact, the contact that you have with your wife, the Torah that you learn, the Torah that you learn with the help of your wife, the physical intimacy, the zivug, that's why it says bat zugo, that there is between husband and wife, is what gives birth to the money that is going to be coming your way. Do you understand that?
Yep.
Are you following me?
Yeah.
Repeat the last sentence, please.
So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a hagdama. Since we said that in the olamot al-ruhaniyim, the madriga that comes above is the shoresh, even if it's the malchut of the olam ha-yetzirah, which is the penultimate world, not the last one. Not the last one. It's before the last one. The malchut is the lowest, the 10th sfira. That in effect is going to be the shoresh of the mohin of the next world, of the olam ha'asiyah. So that is what gives birth to the mohin of a lower world.
No hay internet.
Money, you can't realize yourself. So the shoresh of the money, as it's coming down from Hashem Yitbarach, is something very spiritual. It's something that accompanies your neshama. But to be able to materialize that, there's a certain behavior that Hashem demands of you. And that is a marriage, b'kedusha u'tahara. You have to be married to be able to have that bracha. And you have to have a kosher marriage. Why? Why? Is because you don't have the ability to produce money. You have the ability to bring down that ashpa'ah, that chesed from Hashem, by learning Torah and having the right midot. But to materialize that into money, to give it a body, to that neshama, if you want to, I'll compare it to a neshama and a body. Just like you need a woman to bring down a neshama into a body, So to bring down money, suppose that there is such a thing as the neshama of the money, to materialize and give it a body so that it becomes gold, silver, money, possessions, you need a woman. This is something spiritual. Of course, a woman doesn't get pregnant with money and give birth to money. But a woman is 100% the reason why a man will be rich or not. Because it is the woman, through the woman, that your learning and the chesed that you do will become money. In a spiritual sense. But Hashem will bring you the beracha to your door. You'll become clearer, slower, little by little, probably. Now let's go on a little bit more, Be'ezat Hashem. Now, Kihi Bechinat Raglim. Now, just like you have your feet, and your feet are the lowest madrega in the body, a woman also has a Bechina of Raglim. It's not something derogatory. It's not because she's low. Nothing to do with that. You'll see now what I mean. It says like this. Now, yeah. I'm going to carry on a little bit. Who's talking? Somebody saying something? I'm going to carry on a bit.
את הטקסט, תקרא אותו גם בעברית וגם...
כמו שכתוב בזוהר, רגלי חסידיו ישמור.
מסוד.
So where do we learn that from? That the woman has the bechina of raglim. כמו שכתוב בזוהר, רגלי חסידיו ישמור. The Zohar says, da, this is Iteta. That's his wife. The raglim of a man is his wife. Okay, so I'm going to read the text now. הכתוב אומר שהשם רגלי חסידיו ישמור. הקדוש ברוך הוא protects the steps of a man, or his. That's what it means. He actually is a protection wherever it is that you go. והכתיב של המילה חסידיו, however, the kri is חסידיו, the ktiv is חסידו, without the yud. הוא בלשון יחיד. And that is because it's not talking in the plural. The pronunciation is in the plural, חסידיו, but the ktiv is in the singular. חסידו, הזוהר אומר, רגלי חסידיו ישמור חסידו כתיב ביחיד, in the singular. וזהו אברהם. It's referring to חסידיו, and it says not חסידיו in the plural, it says חסידו. Why? Because it's not talking about all his Hasidim. It's talking about all his Hasidim, but in particular, it's talking about one Hasid, which is Abraham Avinu, the Zohar says. שהקדוש ברוך הוא שמר אותו תמיד, ולא הסיר השמירה ממנו לעולם. הקדוש ברוך הוא always protected Abraham Avinu. What does Abraham Avinu represent? Abraham Avinu represents a person's will, a Jew's will, to want to imitate Hashem and do chesed. Because we were created in the image of Hashem and we have a need to be good. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu protected that chesed in Abraham Avinu, that no harm should come his way. Uma she'amar ragleh, zohi ishto. So the Zohar says, it says ragleh hasido. So it's talking about his wife. The raglaim is what, just like your legs help you to transport you to wherever it is that you should go, so too is your wife like the raglaim. Zohi ishto שהקדוש ברוך הוא שלח שכינתו להיות עימה, שהקדוש ברוך הוא sends the Shekhinah to accompany his wife so that the woman can protect him. Just like your legs protect you, so too your wife. And he brings the example of when Sarah was taken to the house of Abimelech and he wanted to rape her. So, you know, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent the angel Gabriel to make Abimelech all kinds of nisyonot, tzarot, tzrurot. He hit him various times with all kinds of makot and yisurin until he gave up on the idea. Veshamra ota tamid, and he always protected Sarah. Sarah represents obviously the nefesh. We're talking about the small picture, Abraham and Sarah, Raglei Hasidah Vishmor, but we're talking about the big picture for generations to come. This is a hok that the Kadosh Baruch Hu protects the chesed, means the bechina of a zachar, of a ish Israeli, by giving him a batzuk, by giving him his wife. Raglei Hasidah Vishmor. ושמרה אותו תמיד צרת צדני ונרמזת, אם כן במילה רגלי בפסוק, והיא הרגליים של החסיד אברהם. הכתוב נוקד יחיד, and why is it written בראשון יחיד, even though we pronounce חסידיו, it is written, the כתיב is חסידו, מפני שאברהם ושרה, הם ביחד, they are together, ישות אחד. They are like one unity, one being. They are two halves of one. שרה היא הבת הזוג של אברהם, המלכות שלו, הרגליים של החסיד. So why is it written like that? Just like your legs are a part of your body. You don't say your legs are something separate of your body and your legs are going to protect you, they're going to help you. Imagine, Chas v'shalom, if we wouldn't be able to go, if we wouldn't have legs, Hashem